Morning Anambra Monday episode. Today is Monday, the 17th day of April 2023, and we're delighted to be counted amongst the living today. Welcome to the show, a place where we look at the papers and, of course, get topical issues to look into. And that's how we roll. My name is Nonya Nwokoye, welcoming you and saying that you do stay tight and enjoy the beautiful outing we are going to have today by the special grace of God. Let's begin with a press review. All right, you're welcome to the press review. On the press review, as you know, we take a look at stories making the headlines on some of our national dailies and, of course, ABS website. And we've been joined in the studio this morning by some public affairs analysts. Comrade Dominic Okabwe, good to have you in the studio.
Good morning, Nigerians. Good morning, and have a very wonderful day.
All right, we also have Samuel Ololo in the studio. Welcome, Samuel.
Thank you, Noye. Good morning, Ndi Anambra. Dalonu for Isonyanyi, la press review in Keta.
All right, so we begin with looking at stories making their headlines on ABS website. Wedding, family members, friends, well-wishers celebrate Nelson Omenuga, wife Chidera in Oka. Nelson is a special assistant or special advisor to the governor on youth entrepreneurship. Cleric of Fonakara asked Christians to shun sin. More stakeholders Lord Soludo on agreement with Microsoft to train 20,000 Anambra youths in digital skills. All right, Ololo, let me start with you. You know, I think it's important we look at this training that the state government is out to equip every youth in Anambra State. What's your take on that?
All right. For me, first of all, let me add my voice to heartily congratulate Nelson Omenua. He has been a gentle fellow right from his student days as the SUG president. I guess that was my year one. He has really been dogged in promoting affairs of the youth. Now, bringing that promotion of youth affairs into the promise of Anambra State through Microsoft to train 20,000 youths, it is laudable. It is highly commendable, really. You know, we are now in a country where there is a big disconnect between reality and what we are taught in the school. So I'm seeing this as an opportunity to fill up that skill set gap that has been existing over time. But beyond being a laudable idea or initiative, it is important that those who are in charge really call youths who would not only benefit from it, but also put it into action. You know, over the years, we are very, very good at having people who their stock is mostly whatever program the government is bringing, they get the information, they enroll, benefit from it. If there is any financial benefit that will come in from it, they get it and it ends. Typical example, when we did the UWIN program, a lot of programs that the federal government and the state government have always been doing, if you check down, you see that it's still those particular people who have always benefited from it. I have no problem with it to some extent, but our concern is this time around, let it really be the youth. And I know it's going to be the youth, but let it be youth who would perform, who would open themselves up to development, because part of what we are suffering in Nigeria is unemployment, and part of that unemployment skill set would equip the youth to really begin to fill up that gap.
Okay, it's press review. Don't forget, it's audience participatory. For your information, any issue raised here that is of importance to you, you can use the phone line on your screen to call and make your own input, or you can also go to our Facebook page to make any contribution whatsoever. Let's move on now to the first paper of review, the Daily Sun newspaper. On the Daily Sun newspaper, we have the banner headline there saying, striking workers cripple airports operation. All airports grounded as unions begin warning strike today. LP crisis deepens as two Guber candidates emerge in Imo. Tension in Adamawa over Guber results. We have riders there. INEC grills REC, who declared APC candidate winner. Voids announcement to give final word tomorrow. And confusion shows shambolic nature of 2023 polls. That's coming from Atiku. IPOB, no threat to 2023 census in Southeast. That's coming from the National Population Commission. Contact dormant account owners before taking their monies. Shareholders, BCAN, urge CBN. APC's Idris wins KB Guber poll with Ryder there, Tambuwal, Wamako wins Sokoto Senate seats. We also have FG awaits legislative approval to disburse $800 million to vulnerable Nigerians. And Rivers community deserted over shooting of soldiers with Ryder there, rifles, uniforms carted away. UBA Group posts 47.5% growth in earnings. Profit hits 61.4 billion naira. Another bloody day in Kaduna. Gunmen kill 22 in southern Kaduna. Government confirms attacks. Okay, let's look at the banner headline there. I learned there was a 14 days ultimatum given before these 2 days, a warning strike that is started today.
You see, the issue of aviation, there are critical areas of our economy that doesn't suppose to confront this kind of ugly news. Before the 2 days strike, there was a 14-day ultimatum by the aviation staff. And I believe that there are a lot of injustice and maltreatment in the aviation sector. Unfortunately, this is not supposed to be the case. You see, the issue of aviation is a very critical sector that government must be very, very sensitive about in terms of handling the activities, operations, and what have you. Some of these agitations ranges from issues that has to do with the welfare of the workers, salaries, motivations, and what have you. I believe that the government must apply a very sincere approach in handling issues that has to do with the aviation industry, because it's one industry that the government must not play with.
You know, when we talk about this issue of aviation workers going on strike, you know, in Nigeria, over time, we've had issues of strikes, not just for the aviation workers, and most times it boils down on the welfare of workers. And one begins to ask, what actually is our problem? That we cannot make our workers comfortable for more productivity, you know. It
was Ashebe who said in one of his books that the problem with Nigeria is fairly and squarely that of leadership. The leadership, for the success of any establishment, we must have a very sincere leadership. Nigeria as a country must step up, must be very, very committed. Some critical appointment into the aviation has to be critically and constructively, you know, be looked at before such appointment is made. there are a lot of injustice in the aviation sector. There are imbalances in the aviation sector, in critical areas. Some of these workers are agitating for some of these imbalances and some of these maltreatment. You see, workers must, we have workers' rights, we have workers' welfare, we have workers' motivation, we have workers' areas, and most of these things, when they are not properly done, it constitutes this kind of situation we have at the moment. And the failure of the government to look into what, is really the cause, the problem, and tackle it from the root. Because when somebody is complaining, the first thing is to do is to find out what this person is complaining, and then trace, its cause and solve it once and for all. So it will continue to occur if the issue is not handled properly.
Okay, I think we have to look at the New National Star now and see some stories making their headlines on that paper. The banner headline, Adamawa supplementary poll. Actually, I would have wanted us to look at that story, but because it's here, let's look at it from here. Heads to roll as INEC holds emergency meeting. State Rec, you queried, may face disciplinary action. Commission suspends Guba results collation. INEC compromise from within. PDP BOT alleges. We have Dino Melaye defies Wike, clinches Kogi PDP governorship primary. 2 aspirants lay claim to Imo LP Guba ticket. 2023 census will count IDPs in Benue, other places, NPC assures. APC PDP share Sokoto senatorial seats. Herdsmen massacre 20 in southern Kaduna. Government in exile. IPOB dissociates self from autopilot inauguration. EFCC begins probe of Abia LG funds. Buhari meets APC governors in Maka. And we have war against drug trafficking. NDLEA rates Lagos, Ondo, Kaduna, Katsina, others. And in front of that picture, we can see Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, Director General World Trade Organization, and Mr. Godwin Emefiele, Governor, Central Bank of Nigeria, at the plenary session of the ongoing International Monetary Fund and World Bank Spring Meeting at the weekend. Okay, Lolo, let's look at that issue of INEC. And just like Atiku said, in front of the Daily Sun, the writer there, that this shows that the 2023 general election is not what they said it is.
Apparently, when you were reading out the riders in Daily Sun, in my mind, I was saying, wow, this is actually a mouthful, a lot of issues to discuss. And now you've gone into National Star, the same issues. And we are looking at this from different approach. We are looking at a society who we are asking, is this society really interested to continue to grow, to advance, or not? My co-analyst, when he was talking, trying to make reference to Achebe, that the problems of a community, of a society, lies squarely and wholly with leadership. And we understand that in our own climb, we usually have 4 years to give those in power opportunities to right certain wrongs and continue to advance the cause of democracy, development, and social cohesion in the society. But let's look at it from this direction now. Fundamentally, we are having a lot of things wrong. If in history of Nigeria, this is the first time that a huge amount of money has been approved for INEC to use to operate. In history of Nigeria, this is the first time that we now have more friendly laws and policies and programs and regulations for INEC that they can use to improve on the delivery of their core mandate. And when you look at these laws and the outing of INEC, you then ask yourself, what is the problem? Because I would say that this is also the history of time where INEC has completely deviated from what they put themselves. Lobbied lawmakers, pushed a lot of narrative that this is going to be a game changer, this is going to be what we have never seen before, and all this is happening. It now boils down to the problems we have in Nigeria. I would say, beyond laws, programs, and policies of the government, we also have fundamental integrity issues of those who are in affairs, in leadership affairs. We are talking about NACA people who have gone on strike. I don't want to believe that they don't know what the problems are. I don't also want to believe that they don't know how to solve them. I don't want to believe that they don't have funds to really take care of these issues. But the question is, are these people really interested to do it? I don't want to get anybody's name, because those who are complaining now might be complaining because it's against them. But they had the opportunity to set Nigeria in the right path. What did they do? And that is also making me come back to this point. The current government in office, they would leave soonest. And besides, they are leaving. What would they say that is their legacy for the country? We were thinking the 2023 election would have been a very strong one for them to use onto, but they've blown it away. What other opportunity do they have? And these things are snowdiving. You now talk of Niger Delta, people killing soldiers, cutting away guns, going with their uniforms. That is how insecurity starts. We are still dealing with the ones at Northwest, Northeast. We are still dealing with IPOB. Another one, they are still coming up. So this is completely what happens when the society has lost its track completely. And it's unfortunate that if time is not taken, now that we are still looking for how to salvage the society, we are looking at the judiciary to salvage whatever that is remaining. Otherwise, we might find ourselves in Banana Republic, which would be unfortunate for us. And we don't pray to be in that situation.
All right. I think you're yearning to say something.
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely. I concur with my co-analyst. The situation in Adamawa is not only unfortunate, it is completely unbearable. It is unbearable because I know that is a supplementary election. The previous one that held on 25th of February, 18th of February was inconclusive. 18th March was inconclusive, leading to the supplementary that was held 2 days ago. Yeah, and when I was going through the report, they said collection of results was still ongoing, and the return officer had to announce a result that is still on the rec, announce a result that is still, that its collection is still ongoing. Most times I begin to wonder, what kind of INEC officials do we have? Were these actions induced as a result of monetary gains? Was it as a result of influence? Did he receive a call from top to act unconstitutionally? In fact, the whole thing, it was highly unfortunate.
Okay, we keep our fingers crossed, because the INEC said that heads will roll. Let's see the heads that will roll today, maybe after their meeting, probably. Let's move on now to the next paper for review, which is the Punch newspaper. Let's see stories making their headlines in front of the Punch newspapers. Now, on Binani declaration, Adamawa REC under fire faces INEC panel today. Adamawa APC PDP clash, REC faces 36 months imprisonment. INEC annuls Binani's declaration as governor-elect, says REC usurps returning officers' power. Atiku Fintiri PDP kicks. Adamawa APC hails Binani as supporters jubilate. Okay, aviation unions to ground flights airport today. Nigeria's Nigeria's 96% revenue used to service debt in 2022. That's coming from the World Bank. Buhari meets governors, EFCC chairs others in Saudi Arabia. Okay, we can also see Lagos, Ondo, Bayelsa lead states in rising inflation. Flood sweeps 4-year-old boy away in Lagos. Gunmen abduct Ogun traffic official on Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. Could that be where, at the point of duty? Okay, I don't know. Which one are we looking at? Is it Nigeria using 96% revenue to service debt in 2022?
You see, the issue of debt management has been has been a disaster. There was a time I was going through a report, and somebody was saying that the next president who is going to succeed President Mohamed Buhari is going to suffer. And I kept on asking, what do you mean by suffering? He said he will continue to service loan until the end of his 4 years tenure. And he was saying that anybody that must work in Nigeria must have to borrow. You see, some of these loans, they come in terms of grant, but they all have conditions. And some of these conditions is that you will continue to service them. At a stage, by servicing these loans, you've paid the whole money, yet you are still servicing it. It's unfortunate that Nigeria is living on borrowing. And it is very unfortunate that we are not thinking out the best alternative strategy to curb this particular menace, because nobody is thinking on how to develop using an endogenous process. You know, we have endogenous development and we also have exogenous. When you are developing from within, the application of what you have, using your raw material to transform it into finished goods, you can now be able to export. Today, we are importing everything because we are not applying an endogenous developmental stride. We depend on importation. Nigeria will continue to borrow until we develop that strong political will.
And to think that you use 99% is almost everything that you use to service debt.
Yes.
And you begin to ask this question, you know, are there not people that are controlling the excesses of one leader, you know, or the other? Because we have the presidency, we have the legislature, we have the judiciary, and these are supposed to work together to make sure that things are working out fine. And somebody should be able to say, hold on, what have we done? What have we not done? You know, how do we go about it? And from the whole story, it seems nothing is going on like that.
Unfortunately, we operate a presidential system of government where the president has enormous power. Yes, ordinarily the principle...
And never that there are no people that approves the loans?
The principle of separation of power states that there are things the legislature can do, there are things the executive can do, and that of the judiciary. But in Nigeria, the president is empowered with a lot of powers that he can command even the other arms of the government. Okay, now look at, I had $800 million to be disbursed for is it for poverty or for indigent ones in the society. There was a time they had COVID-19 trader money, farmers money, through the office of the Minister for Humanitarian Affairs. So nobody knows the process under which these funds were dispatched.
And how many people?
And how many people got it? Of recent, they came to Oka and they were sharing 20,000. No proof. It could be 40,000, but because they are sharing 20,000, they can go to Abuja and say they shared 50. Something is going to apply. But I'm worried because this government has barely 2 months and to live, or 2 months. Why is it too important for this money to be disbursed at this moment? Why can't they leave it for the next government to start with it?
Okay.
It's a big question.
I beg to differ completely. We have leaders who have not really been sincere to themselves, and they've not also been sincere to the Nigerian state. Why do I say this? In the Constitution, which is where we take our laws and powers from, there is clear delineation of power. We have what the president, that the executive is expected to do. We have what the legislative and just as the judiciary, clear cut out. But when we have leaders who, because of their own personal or selfish interests, decide to run away from their duty and end up blaming the citizens, that is why these issues come up. Typical example, we know that the night assembly that is winding down, a lot of persons, even myself, we have claimed or we have called them to order many times, even when these laws are being made, when borrowings were being made, we always call their attention to it, but they seem not to listen to us. That is one. If you say the president have the executive power and it's all and all, when the Central Bank of Nigeria came up with monetary policy concerning cash, what did the governors do? They found a way to make sure that since they claimed they were working for the interest of the citizens, that citizens' interest prevailed. Is it not? So these issues happening, why are they still keeping quiet? Now we have borrowed 96, we have borrowed using 96% of our
99.
96% to service
debt.
And it is annoying in a situation where we have persons with disability don't have access to quality education. We have pregnant women who go to health centers and they can't get what they need. But our interest is usually in borrowing. And when we borrow, they say that these borrowings are for infrastructure development. Go to the entire federation, you can barely count the projects, the infrastructure development that these borrowings are tied to. Okay. And we call that we have a government.
Okay, we can go on and on with that issue, but let's move on to the Nation newspaper. Let's see stories making their headlines in front of the Nation newspaper. Drama, suspense, uproar over Rex declaration of Binani, which right there, INEC rejected Adamawa Rex action to decide governor-elect tomorrow. PDP Atiku others cry foul. Idris is KB governor-elect, and APC controls Senate with 59 seats, PDP 36, LP 8, NNPP, SDP 2 each, ABGA, YPP 1 each. And we also have investors lose 601 billion naira in 4 days. Naira falls amid pressure. Chidi Amota got it all wrong on Obi, says Alake. UBA raises profits to 61.4 billion naira in first quarter. Jay's Bank grows profits by 68.5%. And we have 22 feared killed, houses razed in fresh attacks on southern Kaduna community. Can we look at that attack where on the Sun newspaper it was said that government confirmed the attack?
You see, the issue of attack is no longer a news in Nigeria because it is something that is becoming, it has been occurring all the time. So when you say attack, it is no longer a news because we believe that attack has continued to occur. And it seems that the government does not have a strategy through the security apparatus to curb it. There will be warning that the attack will come and nothing will be done, and we watch the attack, happen. So that is no longer a news. I think Nigerians, if not that we're in a democratic country, the alternative would have been for people to provide self-defensive mechanism because it seems the security is not doing enough. They may be doing enough, but maybe their job is being monopolized or being influenced by factors, including unknown factors. But there is when we were going through the paper, the 10th Assembly, you made mention of APC winning 58 and PDP at 6 or 7, as well as the LP. You see, the 10th Assembly is going to be an interesting one because it's no longer the game, the usual game. We have 3 main political parties that actually got a good number of votes in the Senate, and that will also determine how the 10th leadership of the Senate will be, decided.
But it's like all the parties, have either one seat or the other.
Yes.
Because APC 59, PDP 36, LP 8,
Yes.
NMPP, SDP 2 each, APGA and YPP 1 each.
What it shows is that there must be an alliance. Yes, without alliance, if APC is united, they can actually achieve what they want in terms of deciding the positions in the 10th Assembly. But there must be need for alliance, political alliance. Because if APC did not put their house in order, LP might emerge with PDP and some other political parties. So there is need for political alliance.
Okay, let's quickly run for want of time now. We take 2 papers at a time now. The Guardian newspaper is next in the lineup. Near bankrupt states, unviable projects await 18 new governors. We have aviation workers begin warning strike today over COS welfare. Intrigues as Otedola takes strategic position in blue chip assets. Amid postponement calls, NPC insists on May 3 census. Drama as INEC disowns REC, voids Binani's declaration. Freedom of expression, thin line between hate speech and sedition and treason. We move on to the next paper, which is the Daily Trust newspaper. Let's see. INEC holds emergency meeting today over Adamawa. Daily Trust, INEC meets, results collation moved to Abuja, prosecute REC, Yadudu, electoral body decries attack on commissioners, Atiku, CDD, Yaga, others react. Oral cancer, kills 764 Nigerians annually. That's coming from the federal government. Many killed in fresh attack in Zangun, Kataf. Buhari, Chadian leader, expressed concern over Sudan crisis. Senate, APC secures 59 seats. We've seen that before. Subsidy palliative FG to pay 5,000 to 10 million households for 5,000 naira to 10 million households for 6 months. APC's Idris wins KB governorship election. And I can see where Barao Jubrin is there is a write-up in front of the Daily Trust in as much as is equally in front of the Nation newspaper, where he is campaigning for Senate president. I don't know if it has left. Is it not supposed to be an in-house something?
let me go by the Guardian.
Okay.
Near bankrupt states and unviable projects await 18 new governors. I wish we could have a society or a country where people would really see the importance and embrace the rule of law. Because if we continue to do things as it so fits us, it will be questioned. And that is why we are really asked this critical question: what are we really lacking in Nigeria? Are we lacking strong institutions, or are we lacking strong people to build strong institutions? These are 2 critical issues that we'll keep asking. And until we get it right, I doubt even the 10th Assembly will do anything significant. Because there is nothing new. Some of them are returning. Some of them are coming new, and there will be neophytes trying to learn how it is being done. So what exceptional would they do? But if we as a country have had this practice of building strong institutions, no matter what happens, like if you go to America, they might not completely care of who becomes the president, because they have strong institutions that will continue to checkmate the pronouncements and excesses of the president. But here in Nigeria, it is wherever the president when the current president came on board, the language we were having then was body language. The body language of the president says this. And how can a country be running on the body language of a president? So when the body language is to the right, the country moves or sways to the right. And another unfortunate issue that is diving in all these issues is what INEC is doing. And that was why from day one we were crying for INEC to try to get it right, because it is now going to embolden a lot of other persons, both the state actors and non-state actors, to take the laws in their hands and feel nothing would happen. If when these infractions were discovered and INEC attention was called to it, if INEC had taken proper action towards them, what the wreck of Adamawa State did 2 days ago, the madness wouldn't have happened, because they would have known that the leadership, this is the direction of the leadership. But because a lot of states are now doing what they feel they can do and they think they can get away with it, the worst case scenario, go to court. My fears are...
And most times they get away with it.
They get away with it. And my fears are, in 4 years' time, people only build on what happens the previous time. That means persons would begin to... They would plan bricks and stone just to win an election, because the laws are not being followed.
All right,
and that is why INEC must have it right.
It's Press Review on ABS Television. We are still waiting for your calls to make an input on any issue raised here that you feel is important to add your voice to. Let's move on now to more papers that we have on hand. The Nigeria Tribune is the next in our lineup. Let's see stories in front of the Nigeria Tribune. Okay, quickly. PDP demands, as INEC voids announcement of Binani, PDP demands arrest of Adamawa Rek. We also have bandits kill 22 in fresh attack in southern Kaduna. Irate youth kill 1, set 64 houses ablaze in Bauchi. And the LEA arrests Lekki businessman over illicit drugs from U.S. with rider there. Intercept drug consignment in winter jackets, body lotion at Lagos Airport. Still on the front of the Nigerian Tribune, UBA Group, we've seen that. Tax hike will bring hardship to individuals, businesses. NECA wants. Court deposes first-class traditional ruler in Ondo 5 years after installation. About the wreck of Adamawa, his actions provocative, Fintiri. Yaga CDD condemns Rex action, says it undermines Electoral Act other laws. Tambuwal clinches Sokoto South senatorial seat. APC Idris wins Kebbi. Melaya wins Kogi PDP primary. That's in front of the Nigerian Tribune. And the last but not the least paper, the Daily Independent newspaper. Let's see. Amid global crisis concerns, CBN vows improved banks supervision. Says IMF's approval of tight monetary policy vindicates its position. Now, an immigration service boils as Jere lobbies for tenure elongation. With riders there, stakeholders write Buhari ask him to intervene, save Nigeria Immigration Service. INEC declares Nasir Idris winner of Kebbi Guba election. Governor Tambuwal wins Sokoto South senatorial election. May 29, Serap asked Buhari Oshimbajo others to publish assets. Kogi APC primaries. NUJ wants disgruntled politicians against misrepresentation of facts. UBA Group, we've seen that. Heathrow Airport, FG accused of complicity in obese detention. We tried that the UK refuses to comment on crisis. Stakeholders criticize issuance of AOC to NG Ego Airlines. INEC voids Adamawa Guba results. All right, let's
see. The issue of Adamawa result has been a very contentious and controversial one. I can see the PDP calling for the arrest of the REC. You see, this manipulation actually gave oppositions the leeway for more criticisms. After the last election, there was a insinuation, not insinuation, so many people were saying that the election were rigged. And
the 25th?
Yes, the National Assembly
And
presidential were rigged, and people are calling from all angles, especially the the ineffective, the inability of the result to be viewed through the IRF also gave a strong, insinuations regarding the, manipulation of the election. So what happened in Adamawa is a confirmation of what people felt happened in the previous one. And we are not surprised that the PDP is calling for the detention of the REC, because that is what one will actually, expect. I also came across where the former senator, that is the Senator Dino Malay, picked PDP tickets to run for governorship in Kogi State. The guy is a strong guy. He tried the last time, it didn't work. And this time around, he's coming again. And he played a very vital role during the presidential election of Atiku Abubakar, though they didn't succeed. And he has decided to move on to see whether he can rescue Kogi State from the shackles of bad governance, because as far as many people are concerned, the incumbent didn't perform to the expectation, and maybe Dino is coming to be a messiah that will save them from such a precarious situation. I think that is what is trying to do. It's a good development anyway.
Okay, can we look at the Heathrow issue? The federal government being accused of complicity in the whole saga.
Okay, so for me, I'll keep saying this. Most of the times, in Nigeria, those who ordinarily should take blame look for a way to run away from taking blame and begin to blame the victims. First of all, whose duty is it to issue passports? Another issue is, whose duty is it to even protect the integrity of the country? If you look at it from that angle, whatever happens, we should know, first of all, the first persons to blame. Then, when we have looked at the policies and their programs, and to what extent they have tried to implement it, it will help us to then dampen into what has been happening. For me, the complicity there is, on Obi's case, if we look at whatever is happening is a relationship between Nigeria, right, and another country. Now, the question is, who are the people, who are the ambassadors, who is the ambassador representing? Even at the situation of the issues going on board, what have they even said? So we are, I don't know if our leaders are just going into office, one, to amass wealth, two, to go into history as people who have once served in that capacity, or if they have seen that there is an issue and they have the capacity to solve that problem for the future generation. I don't think they're looking at it from that angle. I see from the reports and a lot of things that are sickening from the angle that it is their turn to make money, it is their turn to enjoy, and it is their turn to have history remember them as people who have once taken this position. And that is why all these complacencies are coming on board. If not, if it is in America, once anything happens to any citizen, if the government fails to act, you know what the citizens will do? Even the law will not even allow them to just sit and fold their arms. That is a proactive government. That's a government that is working. But in Nigeria, sometimes they don't even say any, they don't even make any press statement. And when they make a press statement, it is completely off. And you ask yourself, are they not complicit?
All right, we can go on and on, but that's the much you can take on the program, The Press Review. Would like to appreciate you so much, Samuel Ololo, for coming on the show. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Noye. Thank you for having me.
We also appreciate you, Comrade Dominic Okabwe, for being here this morning. Thanks for your time.
Thank you. Thank you, and God bless.
All right, and that's just about it. But sit tight, for we have more coming up on Good Morning Anambra Show this day.